Welcome to Canadian Football League Weekly, presented by the World of Football. Each week, we recap the games played up north in the CFL, and we also look ahead to next week's games. Our mission here is to educate American football fans on the teams and players in the CFL in the hopes that you will come to love this league as much as we do. I'm Randy Snow, and I'm joined as always by my son, Adam.
Hello there, Canada. How's everybody doing? What a weekend of Canadian football. Enjoy that 55-yard line while you can, I suppose.
Man, I do not even want to talk about that. I'm hoping that will go away over the next year or so.
I didn't get to watch any of the games live this weekend. Like we were at a Western Michigan football game while a couple of these games were happening. But I don't know how much some of the broadcasts dove into some of that. If anybody knows, let us know. Like, I don't know how I heard little snippets on some of the replays, them talking about, that's still a Rouge in a couple of years. Like I heard a couple of the comments. So
exactly, yeah.
I don't know. What a time. And you even go through some of the comment sections of those highlight videos on YouTube, and there's still people trashing what's happening. Nathan Rourke trashing what's happening. They definitely talked about that at one point during one of the games I saw. So what a time, CFL fans. We're on the roller coaster now.
Yeah, people up there are not happy with the changing the size of the field, and we aren't either. We love the game just the way it is. Some of the other rules, putting the benches on both sides or opposite sides of the field, that's fine. I don't care. The modified Rouge rule, I'm okay with that too. But yeah, the whole field thing is very upsetting. So I don't want to talk about it.
Like I said last week, yeah, I get it. One last thing that we'll go into this week. Like I said last week, the only changes that really I agreed with, I guess moving the goalposts and standardizing the end zone, fine. That's cool. And the modified Rouge rule, fine. But everything else, not a fan. And I hope they walk some of that back, especially considering all the fan backlash. But
yes,
the fact that we didn't talk about this last week, but the fact they didn't even consult the players and coaches on some of this, it's not a good look for this league. And good afternoon, Royce from Viking Wax Press. How are you doing, my friend out there on the West Coast? So, man, it's 4:00 here, so it's got to be 1:00 out there. He's finding time to check us out. We appreciate you swinging by.
He's taking a late lunch to watch us.
Oh, well, what a bad way to take your lunch break, then. Watching us couple of schmucks for a half hour.
All right, let's get into the Week 16 scores. Was this 16 or 17? Week 17.
17.
Yeah, see, I didn't have that on my script. Week 17 scores in the CFL, and it started out on Friday night with the Montreal Alouettes defeating the Calgary Stampeders 38-20. Calgary led 7-4 after the first quarter, but Montreal led 18-14 at halftime. Montreal extended their lead 32-17 after three quarters and just kind of cruised on their way to a 38-20 win at home. Good for them. This is the third straight win for Montreal. They started out with like 5 in a row, then they lost 4 or 5 in a row, and now they're back on a 3-game winning streak. So hopefully they'll keep it going and get themselves a playoff spot. We'll just have to wait and see. Quarterback Davis Alexander from Montreal returned to the field for the first time in about 8 weeks, I think. Yeah, 8 games after suffering a hamstring injury, and he is now 9-0 as a starter in the season. See, I'm just so excited that he's back and playing at a very high level that I'm getting all my facts confused here. 9 in a row as a starter in the CFL. That's just awesome, and I'm sure all the fans in Montreal are glad to have him back.
What a time to get him back. Like, just as they start making a playoff push, they're sneaking up right behind the East Division leader. So we'll talk about them in a little bit. But the rest of the CFL should be scared. Montreal getting hot at the right time. While some of these teams we thought were good are starting to, show a lot of chinks in the armor there. Could Montreal be getting hot at the right time with a very good quarterback at the helm? Time will tell, but I mean, I'd hate to push my chips off of who my betting favorite has been for a while onto a different team. But stack a couple more of these wins together, and you might convince me that Montreal might be the hot team going into the playoffs and the team you don't want to play against. So
Yeah.
If you're a Montreal fan, I'm sure you're extremely happy.
All right, let's get into the stats, Adam.
Okay, stat time, everybody. Montreal quarterback Davis Alexander went 26 of 36 for 350 yards. And he threw a touchdown pass, while running back Stevie Scott ran the ball 12 times for 55 yards. Wide receiver Tyler Snee had 8 catches for 115 yards. And a wide receiver Tyler Philpott had 6 catches for 76 yards. On Calgary's side of things, Vernon Adams, who did look, for the most part, I thought looked good. He ran really well. He had a really nice running touchdown during the game. 19 of 29, 238 yards passing, a touchdown and an interception. He also ran for 37 yards and had that rushing touchdown, as I mentioned. Running back Dedrick Mills had 10 carries for 81 yards. And wide receiver Dominique Rhymes had 5 catches for 83 yards. And wide receiver Jalen Philpott had 7 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. So the Philpotts having a couple of good games there on both sides of the ball. Yeah, this is one I'm watching. Montreal looks like a totally different team with Philpott. I don't know how, because he ain't playing defense and special teams, but it just seemed like Montreal just seemed a lot more rounded out with him at the helm. I don't know if he brings that much of a presence that squad there, but it was something to behold. I mean, they did a fantastic job. It's just night and day with this team with him at quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I made a mistake. I wrote it down wrong. His brother, you got Jason Philpott and Tyson Philpott. I wrote down Tyler. It's not your fault that you read Tyler. That's what I wrote. It's Tyson Philpott.
Oh, Tyson Philpott. Okay, then is the other one Jalen? Because you had me read that and you said Jason.
Yes. Yeah. Jason was right, but I had Tyler.
We keep trying to get in Canada's good graces just to take 2 steps back, Randy. Come on now.
Hey, this is just the first of several apologies I've got today. There's more coming. Don't worry.
Oh, no. Not an apology tour. Randy, you know we can't afford those.
Hey, I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a couple times here. Let's move on to the next game. This was another Friday game. The BC Lions over our beloved Toronto Argonauts, 27-22. Toronto led this game 6-3 after the first quarter, but BC took the lead 13-9 at halftime. BC also had a 20-15 lead after 3 quarters on their way to that 27-22 win. It wasn't in the cards for Toronto this time. It just BC was just too much for them.
They had a chance there at the end, though. They had their opportunities. They just couldn't get it. Arbuckle threw a real bad interception at one point. I just felt like Toronto just played a little sloppy, but they were still in it. That's the crazy thing. They were in it again at the end of the game. They had their opportunity to stop the Lions there. There was like a 3rd down, and Rourke ran it for a couple yards, and they had him. They had him dead to rights. I forget the defensive player for Toronto who had him, but he had him, and just Rourke just kind of outmuscled him, and got that key critical first down there at the end of the game that kind of sealed it up for the Lions. Otherwise, Toronto would have had a shot again. So Toronto, don't let that record fool you. Toronto's been in a lot of those games. They've come up short. They've just come up on the bad end of bounces all season long, and that's just kind of been their story this year.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that in this game, BC sacked Argos quarterback Nick Arbuckle 4 times, and 2 of those sacks resulted in fumbles. So, yeah, it was just it was a rough night for Toronto, that's for sure.
And it stinks, especially since this is the first time they've been back to BC play since that Grey Cup game all the way back in November. So I just thought that was funny. I didn't really think about that when I saw it on the schedule, but I was like, oh yeah, Toronto, the last time they were here was when we were there back in November.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Let's talk about some stats here. Quarterback Nathan Rourke of the BC Lions, 16-24 for 235 yards. He had a touchdown. Rourke threw 3 interceptions. Very, very unlike him as of late. He also ran the ball for 31 yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. That does seem like him. Running back James Butler ran the ball 7 times for 72 yards. And wide receiver Keon Hatcher had 4 catches for 87 yards. For Toronto, Nick Arbuckle was 28 of 38 for 281 yards passing. He had a touchdown and an interception, while wide receiver Jake Herslow led the receivers with 10 catches for 104 yards. Kicker Lyram Hiralahu was 5 for 5 on his field goals during the game, the longest of which was from 50 yards. They had to rely on Hiralahu a lot there in the first half. I want to say, because they only scored 12 points, right? 9 points in the first half, so it was all Hiralahu highlights there pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Rourke has 5 touchdowns. He's got what was it? Two. One touchdown passing and 2 rushing, 3 touchdowns altogether. But man, oh man, 3 interceptions to go with that, and they still won.
And Toronto's defense came to play. I mean, they were able to get within the 5 points. Like I said, I felt like they were still in it there at the end. They just had to string something together, and BC just kind of outlasted. BC, though, improving their record to 8-7. They're holding on to that crossover spot for dear life. The West has become so interesting now, and we'll talk about why with a couple of these games coming up. But the East, got a couple of teams fighting at the top, but the Argos and the Red Blacks were on bye this week, making it real easy for the West to sneak in this year.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We also have a weekly podcast called This Week in the World of Football that we do. We don't just do Canadian football content. We do all sorts of stuff. And this week's episode is number 413 that we've done now in 8 years of doing this. We're only recently started doing this live, but we've been doing audio podcasts for 8 years and learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes, but we're still here. Some of the things that we're going to talk about. So some of the things we're going to talk about on tomorrow's show, tomorrow night, the Chicago Bears get their 800th win over the weekend. A team
who cares?
Hey, it's big news. They're only the second team in the NFL to ever get to that level.
Who cares if the Bears don't matter?
Let's see. A team from the Arena League is joining the Arena Football 1, and Bad Bunny will perform at the Super Bowl halftime this year. I'm sure you're familiar with Bad Bunny. I've heard the name, but I'm not interested in watching the halftime show.
If you checked out my 5 artists who should play the Super Bowl video I did earlier this year, back in March, you'd have seen that he was on the list. He made the list, Dad. So I am not shocked at all. But we'll get into that and a bunch of more football stuff. As more news keeps piling in from Arena Football 1, we got more NFL stuff shaking out. There's so much to always talk about across all the different leagues that are in play and their off seasons. Like the soap opera that is indoor and arena football continues to just give us content to talk about. So we will feast tomorrow on so much different news in the world of football buffet. So so I'm excited for tomorrow's show. And Dish 4 in the chat, Randy, he loves the shirt. He loves that elk shirt you got. Or she. I don't even know. Dish. So.
Well, thank you. It's almost a bit of a throwback now.
Right. I'm a little sad because I like that Elks logo. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know where they could incorporate it now that they've gone back to the double E for the most part, which is fine also. But I just kind of miss that one.
Yeah. They were using this quite a bit when they first went to the Elks, and now they've kind of gone back to the double E. You still find it. In fact, it was on their helmets with the Indigenous logo just yesterday or Saturday. So it's still there. But when I looked at it, I thought, oh man, that's almost like a throwback shirt anymore. But I still like it. So anyway, let's continue with the Saturday games in the Canadian Football League. On Saturday afternoon, it was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 40-3. Winnipeg defensive back Trey Vaval returned the opening kickoff of the game, 98 yards for a touchdown. Winnipeg went on to lead 19-3 at halftime, and then they shut out Hamilton 21-0 in the second half. And get this, all 3 second half touchdowns were rushing touchdowns by Winnipeg backup quarterback Chris Streveler. The hat trick of rushing touchdowns in a CFL game for Chris Streveler. Good for him. This wasn't much of a contest, but in spite of that, Hamilton still qualified for a playoff spot. So it didn't hurt him at all.
Reward. So, but this is the type of game, Randy. No matter what level of football you play, this is called a belt to ass game. And Winnipeg totally put belt to ass in this one. I'm a little shocked. Hamilton, I won't say Hamilton's slipping, but man, to get blown out like that, lose by 37 points is rather unheard of, especially for the team that's at the top of the East, just to get boat raced like that by the Blue Bombers. But hey, give credit to the Blue Bombers. Maybe they're starting to peak at the right time as they look into the playoffs as well. They got the Lions hot on their heels, so I mean they can't afford to lose a game. Otherwise, it could be the Blue Bombers in that crossover spot. Who knows? The chaos that is the Canadian Football League playoff scenarios just keep rolling. So I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting finish. There's only 4 weeks left in the regular season. And I think the reason that Hamilton clinched this game, even with a loss, is because Toronto lost. Had Toronto won, they probably, wouldn't have qualified just yet. But who knows? Who knows? All right. Let's move on to some stats in this game.
All right. Winnipeg quarterback Zach Collaros was 20 of 25 during the game for 367 yards. He threw a touchdown. Running back Brady Oliveira ran the ball 15 times for 98 yards. And wide receiver Nick Dembski had 7 catches for 114 yards. Hamilton quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell was 21 of 32 passing for 212 yards, no touchdowns. Running back Greg Bell ran the ball 11 times for 88 yards, while wide receiver Keandre Smith had 6 catches for 65 yards. Kicker Mark Leggio, 1 of 2 on his field goals, but it was a 55-yarder that hit the crossbar, went through that we're going to make note of there. So, hey, it's all good. I mean, the only score for Hamilton, by the way. So,
yeah. It was good to see Zach Collaros back. He was out last week after getting injured the week before that in a game. Didn't he take a knee to the head or something?
It was, yeah.
I forget what his injury was, but he wasn't there last week, so he's back this week. Luckily, he's all right and led his team to a win. So congratulations to Winnipeg and Zach Collaros on a win over Hamilton. And then finally, going to move on
to the game of the week.
The game of the week, yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, I'd say this is game of the week.
The Edmonton Elks defeated the Saskatchewan Roughriders 27-25. The score was 1-0 in favor of Edmonton at the end of the first quarter, and Edmonton led 11-3 at halftime. Saskatchewan took the lead for the first time, 12-11 in the fourth quarter. Edmonton running back Justin Rankin had a pair of touchdowns late in the game, but Saskatchewan scored a touchdown as time expired, making the score 27-25. The 2-point conversion that would have sent the game into overtime failed, and Edmonton hung on for the 2-point win at home. Wow, what an exciting ending to that game.
This game had everything. There was at one point, was it Nick Harris or Trevor Harris? They had 2 interceptions on we'll call it the same drive, because he threw an interception at one point. The guy got hit and the ball rolled to the defense, or rolled back into their possession. So on the same drive, essentially, he threw 2 interceptions, which I can't say I've ever seen that. That was crazy. But, Hamilton came to play, and I wonder if there was a little extra emotion with the Elks owner passing away, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I just, man, they played real tough against a team that I've put all my chips on to win the Grey Cup in the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And the Roughriders have lost a couple of weird games lately that just, I don't know, make me scratch my head a little bit. Like, what's the matter with this team that I thought was so dominant? But let's also throw some love on the other side. Edmonton running back Justin Rankin, who just absolutely stole the fourth quarter, pretty much took it over. He was running hard, and he had that typical, I don't know why we don't see more of him doing that during the game, but he definitely made it count there at the end and helped put this game away. But, Saskatchewan, as good as they are, they were able to climb back there on that last drive, get the touchdown. But then what was the deal with that play? That ball just sailed, like he just threw it away when you knew you needed to get it in the end zone to tie this thing up. He just threw it away. Like, I don't get that. I was scratching my head at that one. Yeah, I baffled. Just baffled. I wonder if it's because the goalposts were in the way. Maybe the commissioner was right.
Oh my.
Okay, the middle of the field wasn't open up, Randy, so he couldn't throw it in the middle of the field.
But you talked about the player having 2 interceptions on the same drive. That was Edmonton linebacker Kenneth Logan Jr. And yeah, he got it, and then he took a few steps and he got it punched out, and they recovered it. But a few plays later, they continued the drive. A few plays later, he snagged another one, and this one stuck. So that's pretty unusual. I've never heard of anybody getting 2 interceptions on one drive.
I
Well,
thought
let's
that was
see.
awesome.
Yeah. Another note I got from this game is that Saskatchewan running back AJ Olette surpassed 1,000 yards rushing for the season in this game. Congratulations to him. Between him and AJ Olette, this was a great running show this week.
Well, why don't you say that one more time? Oh, Rankin and AJ Olette?
Yeah. Wasn't he?
Okay. I was like reading notes. I was like, wait, did you say AJ Olette and AJ Olette? I was just sorry. That's on me.
I might have, but I was talking about Rankin and Olette.
Okay. But yeah, a couple of great backs to throw out there, but yeah, Olette's been great in a losing effort. But yeah, to get 1,000 on the season. Somebody else had a milestone. I can't remember. I saw the CFL post. Somebody else had a milestone this year. It was one of the wide receivers hit 1,000 yards. I can't remember which one, but hey, I don't think the CFL needs to do much change, and it's still entertaining, and it's still electric football. So I'm having a blast.
It's perfect just the way it is. Leave it alone.
It's perfect the way it is, except for a couple of the little tweaks. All right, stats.
Yes.
All right, Edmonton quarterback Cody Fajardo was 18 of 23 for 305 yards, no touchdowns. But running back Justin Rankin ran the ball 14 times for 82 yards and had 2 touchdowns during this game, while wide receiver Keon Julian Grant had 4 catches for 89 yards. For Saskatchewan, quarterback Trevor Harris was 33 of 46, 351 yards. He threw a touchdown in those 2 picks that came on the same drive, essentially, which we really talked about ad nauseum about. Running back A.G. Olette ran the ball 19 times for 115 yards and a touchdown, while wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson had 8 catches for 119 yards. I believe it was Keyshawn Johnson, now that I think about it. He broke the 1,000-yard mark on the season receiving.
I think you're right
as well.
I think you're right. Yeah, so in this game...
in the chat, the fact that Edmonton linebacker intercepted the ball twice is indeed unusual. I mean, twice in the game, yes, for a linebacker, unusual, but twice in the same game by the same linebacker, extra unusual there, Leonard.
Yeah, so in this game, you had both quarterbacks go over 300 yards passing. Fajardo 305, Harris 351. So that's you don't see that every day either.
No.
And let's see, on bye this past week was the Ottawa Red Blacks. So we're going to look at the standings now in the CFL after week 17. Just 4 weeks to go in the regular season. Things are coming down to crunch time here, folks. In the West Division, it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 10-4. They have clinched a playoff spot. Calgary Stampeders at 8-6. Winnipeg Blue Bombers 8-7. BC Lions at 8-7, and the Edmonton Elks at 6-9. In the East Division, it's the Hamilton Tiger Cats at 9-6. They have secured a playoff spot. Montreal Alouettes at 8-7. The Toronto Argonauts at 5-10, and the Ottawa Red Blacks at 4-10. So looking ahead to next week's games, only 3 games next week. On Friday, it's going to be Saskatchewan at Ottawa, and on Saturday, it's going to be Hamilton at Toronto and Calgary at BC. All the games next week are all on CFL Plus. The first game this past week was supposed to be on CFL Plus. I wanted to watch it, and it told me that it wasn't available in my region. So I don't know what the deal was. I looked at CBS Sportsnet. It wasn't there. So I don't know what was going on with that game. But yeah, all the games next week are going to be on CFL Plus, as far as I know. That's what the schedule calls for. And so on bye next week, you're going to have the Edmonton Elks, Montreal Alouettes, and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Something that we've been alluding to, the Edmonton Elks owner, Larry Thompson, passed away last week from complications suffered after having surgery. He took over the team in August of 2024, so it's been only a year. His wife, Debbie, now assumes ownership of the team. He was a lifelong fan. We did a story about him when he took over the team, and I think he owned like a hardware store or some business like that. And he finally sold it to somebody else and took that money, and he bought the Edmonton Elks because he loved the team so much, and he was upset that they weren't doing as well as they should have been. And man, he was just their biggest fan. And I feel so bad for the team and everybody there that they only got a year with him, because I think he had a plan for the team and he was putting it together. And just got cut down way too short. So
Yeah.
condolences to everybody up there.
Yeah, and it's an Edmonton team that I think's improved quite a bit. I mean, they're still not where we would hope they would be by now, but they've definitely this is a better Edmonton team than we've seen the last 4 or 5 years, especially since the pandemic. Since they made the name change, the Elks have been rather irrelevant, and I feel like this year they've actually had they made some noise. They've had some really good games. They got on a nice winning streak there for a little bit, and they finally settled on a quarterback. I think that works for them, and a coach that's getting this team trending in the right direction. So this is just a very sad thing for a team that looked like they were about to, go off onto better things. And it's unfortunate he's not going to see the fruits of that labor.
Yeah. All eight teams that played this past weekend wore their indigenous designed helmet logos for the National Day of Truth and Reclamation, which is technically tomorrow, but this was the weekend when they all wore those logos. And here's where my other apology comes in. I think last week on one of our other shows, I kept calling it the Day of Truth and Reclamation instead of reconciliation. So I apologize for that. I was looking at it today. I'm like, oh man, I've been saying that wrong for a couple of weeks. But yeah, it's the Day of Truth and Reconciliation, and it's officially going to be celebrated tomorrow on Tuesday. So I apologize for my ignorance and not getting it out there correctly. Let's see some other news here. The BC Lions announced that its first 2 home games in 2026 during the regular season will be played at the Apple Bowl in Kelowna due to the FIFA World Cup games being played at BC Place. They're also going to play their one preseason game, home preseason game, where they played it last year on what was it? Was it Prince William Island? It's some island right off of British Columbia, and they played there last year. And
was
I watched
that
it
the
on
Touchdown
TV.
Pacific game?
Yes, it was. So they're going back there, I think, for their preseason game again this year, and then they've got their first 2 home games at this Apple Bowl Stadium, in Kelowna is the name of the town. I'd never heard of it, so I'd have to look it up on a map. But they're getting their ducks in a row already for next season. And let's see. Oh yeah, and there were I guess there were special footballs used during the games this week. I didn't even know that you pointed this out the other day. And they all had the indigenous logos on the footballs, and they used orange laces because what you said, orange is the color for the Day of Reconciliation.
Yeah, they did that. They also, like, all the teams, like, during their warm-ups, or saw quite a few pictures. They wear the orange warm-up jerseys, and I think I don't know if they donate those or if they auction them off for charity. But that's something they've done the last few years, I want to say.
Right.
So I think that's pretty sweet. So
I think it started 3 years ago with 1 or 2 teams, and then last year every team got their logo redesigned by a local indigenous artist, and they're doing it again this year. They're also cool. Yeah, I keep saying I want to get a mini helmet of all the indigenous logo helmet designs. You were trying to get a baseball cap of the Saskatchewan indigenous.
Yeah. Logo. I've been having issues getting shipping from Canada. I know with tariffs and all that, and shipping's been so between the Saskatchewan Rough Riders store not being able to accommodate my shipping address, I tried to buy a British Columbia Lions mini helmet of one of their 2017, 2018 black helmets that looked like the Michigan Panthers helmet. Somebody was selling that mini helmet in one of the CFL Facebook groups, and I was like, I want that so bad. $25-$30, I'll take it. And then when he found out I was in the U.S., he's like, yeah, it's going to cost you an arm and leg to ship. So that just kind of went through. And I'm really bummed because I want that, man. I want that so bad. All the cool stuff is in Canada, and I can't get it shipped to me.
If only we knew somebody in Windsor who would hold it for us, and then we could drive over there 2 hours from here, go into Canada, pick up all their stuff, and come back.
Or just meet them halfway on the bridge there between Michigan and Windsor.
Oh yeah,
and then come back.
Yeah. Somewhere in that Detroit tunnel where nobody can see us stopping.
Yeah.
Moving stuff from one car to the other.
And then we'll all be wearing our giant overcoats and hats.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. Tune in again next week when Adam and I will review all the games played up north of the border. We'll be here throughout the CFL regular season, only 4 weeks to go, as well as the postseason and the the 111th Grey Cup game in Winnipeg on November 16th. Check out highlights of all the games we've been talking about today in the CFL on cfl.ca/videos. If you've got any questions about the CFL, you can ask them down in the comments section of this video. If we don't know the answer, we know people in Canada who can get us the answer. So we'll get an answer for you.
Well,
and
we
remember,
don't know
folks,
anybody who can smuggle that stuff across the border. That's the unfortunate thing.
I'm not saying smuggling it. I'm just saying, I'm more than happy to drive across the bridge.
I'm
from
saying
Detroit
smuggling. I don't want to pay the arm and
Windsor.
the leg for shipping.
No, I could go into Windsor. I could get a little pizza, and get some poutine and whatever McDonald's burger they've got that's only unique in Canada. I'd grab one of those and make an afternoon out of it. But yeah, we just need to find somebody who lives in Windsor. So if you live in Windsor, give us a call. Let us know what's your address, and we'll send some stuff to you.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That to hold for us. That's it. That's what.
Uh-huh.
All right. Some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than Adam and I sitting here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, talking about the CFL. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And I love you, Canada.
I do too. And we'll see you all next week, somewhere around the 55-yard line.
While it exists.
While it exists.